Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Our viewers, we suppose it's a good afternoon. My name is Norman Himbise, and today I am blessed to have once again Justice Kanyeihamba. Around this time, we are with him to discuss a variety of issues, both national, international, human rights, democracy, good governance, to mention but a few. We stream live on our Facebook pages, that's the Alternative Uganda Facebook page, our other page, Digitalk TV, and definitely the very show is also on another channel, the YouTube channel, the Alternative Uganda. Around this time, we are blessed to have Justice Kanyeihamba. There is a lot to discuss because we last met some few days ago, some time ago. So today, I am privileged once again to have Justice Kanyeihamba, healthy, strong as usual. Say hello to our viewers, sir.
I am even getting better viewers. Very nice to be with you again.
Justice Kanyeihamba, healthy, strong as Justice.
Number of issues we are going to discuss. I look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are beginning from a side note. Of course, one of your friends, I understand she has been one of your closest friends, Justice Amoko Arachi, passed on. There are two also issues therein, but perhaps I will ask you to first begin with that condolence message at least, and then there is that battle in courts where the husband wanted her be buried in a different place, then the family wanted her in a different place, and your line justice is also now that the court also came up with a neutral ground. Let's begin with your condolence message, and then we discuss the legality about the burial.
I was saddened to learn about the person of Justice Arachi, Amoko. She was actually a friend. I we were sworn in together, her as a judge of the High Court, and me as a judge of Supreme Court. She was a very good judge. She had been my senior state attorney when I was Minister of Justice. And when President Museveni supported my nomination as the judge of the Supreme Court, I was among those who supported the late Justice Amoko to be a judge of the High Court. And I was very glad that she was duly nominated and appointed. And she's been a very good, hardworking, and principled judge, all the way from the High Court, and Court of Appeal, stroke Constitutional Court, and lastly, as a senior judge of the Supreme Court.
She has gone through the ranks.
She has gone through the ranks. Unlike me, who never went through the ranks, but I was appointed straight away from professorship to
Court.
Justice of the Supreme Court.
But at least for some reason you were at least Attorney General.
Attorney General, Mr. Judge, Presidential Advisor, yes. And I was also a director, or rather a trustee of the Africa Union criminal court board.
Those are the ranks we are. So
But-
literally,
so
she's the
now,
one person that
Stella and her husband, we came to know each other much more when I was a judge of the African Court of Human People's Rights. Her husband, Mr. Amoko, or His Excellency Amoko, was one of the ambassadors, acting ambassadors. I met them first in Addis Ababa. And they used to take me whenever I was on court session in their restaurant. So, serving Ethiopian food accompanied by injera. Injera is the kind of bulo
yeah.
or rice kind of thing. Very, very delicious. Anyway, coming back to this sad news, so like many of her friends, I was really shocked. Her early demise. I think had she lived, I believe she could have made the first female Chief Justice of Uganda. I would have been delighted. Those who are there now, some I don't know, but those I know, I will not comment on them.
But it's for her,
But for her,
that her
I think she
performance
could
was
have
superb.
made the Chief Justice of Uganda, first female. So having said that,
We talk about the barrier now, that conflict. What does the law say? Okay, you first of all, we want your wisdom as a legal expert, but also as an elder. Traditions, because traditions and law, when do they conflict? The husband suggested that the wife be buried at his place.
the burial of the
Family-
deceased has nothing to do with the law. It is a matter for the husband's family. If they have children, or between them.
They didn't. Now that's where the issue
Yes,
comes. Yeah,
if they have the children of themselves, or of them, between them, it is a matter solely traditional for the family. The law judges don't have a place to play in where you are buried to be buried.
But you did, as judge.
But if their relatives
the children,
are disputing property,
that's when the law comes on board.
not a burial, property, yes, the court comes in. So I was shocked that the court is involved. And the court spokesman is saying there is a crisis, where to bury her. It is customary.
And they chose a neutral ground. They chose the Catholic cemetery.
Who, government?
Yeah. court
No,
did so. Yeah.
that is wrong.
That's what the court,
Let me tell you, we have had
itself on that and
we have had judges die. One of them was the sister of my great friend, the first Prime Minister Kanyeihamba. Whether or not the wife, the sister, she later married a Muchiga called Joseph Jamjisha, who has since turned off, rather passed on. There was no dispute among the Muchiga, because they had the children, that he would be buried in Kabale, actually Rwanda, where he was born, Bubadi. Nobody disputed it. Nobody did anything. But first of all, let me tell you about the late. The late had another husband, and they had children with that husband.
Yeah, they are the ones who wanted the mother to be buried in Nebi, whereas the current husband wanted the late wife to be buried in Adjumani.
So in this case, for me, there was no dispute.
So what would
She should have been married. Where if she left a will, she said, I want to be buried here. And if she left the children, definitely 100%, she should be buried where she said, I want to be buried next to my father. And as the children said, we want our mother to be buried where she chose to be buried. There should be no legal dispute. There should be no wrangle. What kind of judges do we have now? I sent a message to the principal judge.
over the same?
Over the same. I sent an obituary assessing his performance and the character. I hope it will be published tomorrow. Read out in the memory of Justice Arachi Amoko by Kanyeihamba. It should come tomorrow. So watch out in the monitor. Monitor.
So in your view, there shouldn't have been any...
No, because I'm going to give you two examples, or three. The first one, so what I'm saying, definitely my knowledge of customary law, my knowledge of constitutional law of Uganda, my knowledge of the customs of the people concerned, their children, where she was born. When there are no wrangles, no disputes, the deceased wife is married where the husband chooses. Where the husband has children from other...
Where the wife comes with children. Now
No, I thought about the husband.
This is the...
Where the husband has got children from another woman, whether alive or dead, and the husband has children from another man or another tribe, as the case may be. Customary law says she should be married where her children and what do you call them? Her children and parents agree to be married. That is the place. There is no legal dispute. There is no court to decide. There is no reason for the registrar. I was so ashamed that the registrar of the High Court said, we have a crisis. There is no crisis whatsoever. As Stella, my good former friend, should have everybody agreed. The children have chosen. She also chose, I want to bury where my father is. That is the place. And if the judiciary decides ours, I am senior counsel, I will represent the children. I am offering free services.
In this case, they already lost because as per the mediation, what came out of the mediation was that the deceased be buried at the cemetery, the Catholic cemetery, as a win-win. So literally, she's not going to be buried in neither in Adjumani, but rather in a cemetery. That's what was decided. So that's why she was buried in the cemetery.
But
to ask again,
for me, I don't care where she's buried. For me, I'm telling you what customary law says and what is my view. If they bury her in the sea, Some people
Yeah.
prefer to say, doesn't affect my opinion. But I said, if I had been their lawyers, they have not engaged me. I would say this is not a matter for the police or for the judiciary. The registrar of the High Court is very badly mistaken. And if she hadn't been in town, but they can always correct. Whether you are buried or not, if customers do say you should be buried by where your father and your biological children decide, you can, and I'm giving this advice free, they can exhume her body now and bury her where she wished and her biological children wish her to be buried. So it is not late. It has happened in the case of my good friend also, and my Msanzire, Katera. Katera was buried here at Rubua, in his executive house. Then when the family built a house in Nankole, where he had migrated, he was from Rukunjiri, I forget where, they came here, got an order allowing them to exhume the body, and it is now in Kashari, where he had migrated from Kigezi. That is a very good example. So having the buried does not stop, and I'm giving this free advice. The children of Stella and the family of her father, please, if we have the ability, don't be stopped that she has been buried in a place decided stupidly by a court. No, that's rubbish. So I even contribute, because she was my friend, some money to exhume her, and we bury her where she wanted, and her biological children prefer her to be buried. So whether she was buried in ministry or not, I'm giving legal advice that you can still exhume her body, because I'm sure it is in a coffin, and kindly take it. But let me tell you why it is like that. I have heard about this situation. I'll describe them one by one. My friend called Paul Bitarabeho, he was the chairman of the Chess Association. He died in a motor accident. And there was a dispute between his brothers and what do you call them? Siblings from his father. That the body should be taken to Kabale and be buried in their land of the family, the father. I was a judge. I became a friendly arbitrator. Then I asked his widow, she's still alive in Kampala, with all the children, where do you want your husband or your father to be buried? They said, here in Kampala. His body, you can see it, is buried in a village near Gayaza, where he had a permanent house and land. Then I called the children. I never called the other side. And their mother. They said, our house is in Gayaza. That's where we want him to be buried, so that we can have a conversation with his spirit every day clean his grave, and put their flowers, fresh flowers. We loved him dearly. I didn't have to consult a judge. I didn't have to consult the other family. I told all the mourners there and then, the children and the widow have told me what they want. Poor Bitarabeho will be buried here. Then the children had also told me that in their village in Kabari, their uncle had also died. And if you go there, you don't know whether he's buried there or not. The area is full of grass. Cows graze there on top of his tomb. They just buried him. You can never identify where his brother was buried. When I said that that is the reason I decided, second, the reason I decided for, the whole monarch stood up and clapped me. I want you to find out who is the registrar and this court. I directed them, you made a terrible mistake, which will last forever. So you must accept that her body be resumed and taken to the area of her own children and late father.
So precisely, Prof, on this very matter, I want you to guide our viewers. When does the law supersede the deceased's will?
No, it can never.
The law cannot.
Where there is a will,
It takes precedence.
that I want to be buried here, the law does not play place. The decision is between customary law and the family. And when they are deciding, these ignorant judges, they should decide in accordance with the family, first, the family's wishes, two, customary law. So where is the dispute? Those disputing should go to customary law, not to modern law. Where, for example, when you are talking about Christianity, you use the Bible
That's the authority for.
and the law. But we have a judgment against Kanyeihamba
Which is
from 5 judges of the Constitutional Court saying Museveni is above the law and above God. Should you follow that?
okay.
So I wanted to finish this story so that you can see I am absolutely right, and I hope the parent, the children will follow him. Another family where this said the right of the wife and the children and the customary law prevail. This case is very, very bad because the children, as I told you in the case of Bitarabeho, wanted to visit.
yeah, they had just.
I have a friend who died, Nkuruziza. He was my manager for foods and the beverages. He died in a motor accident. Her mother came from Tambala, but her father came from Ankole. When he died, and I'm going to cover which used to be my home and still my roots, I would go to their graves because 2 of her siblings were also my friends. And I would go alone. My driver would stay in the car, and I go and sit by them in the memory of them. That is when it wasn't raining, and I was not in a hurry. Every time I passed there, and sat. But that was at the house of their father and the father-in-law of the wife. They both died in the same accident. I have never had any doubt. The law I studied has never had any doubt that the grave of the deceased is first determined by by her family or his family. And when it's in a dispute, you use not the modern law, but customary law. So I will find out the names of the judges or magistrates who said, "You be buried in the bush there." No, it is wrong. It is sacrilegious. It is a very, very disturbing decision. We have decided for her to be buried in no man's land. Stupid! So let me this last one. When these children grow up,
They are grown up already, like they are already.
when they have grown up and they are grandchildren, they will grow up hating my friend Stella. That woman seduced our father, and she didn't look after us. It is only our father who looked after us. And they will throw stones at her, and the cow's dung. But if they married in the area her children have chosen, that I want to be buried next to my father in Debbie's in Nebi, the children will visit her and cry over her body, put their flowers. And when they let us go, one will say, "I am still with my mother." Come, don't these judges have any feelings? Would they like their relative to be buried in the bush
Or even themselves, they are just.
instead of their home? So to me, I am shocked and angry that any judicial officer should decide that my friend, who was a justice, should be buried in the bush. No!
Okay.
Family, finally, please, I will help you. Let us organize. I will give you some money if necessary. We don't challenge
Exhume.
because the decision is wrong.
Exhume the
If
body
you
and-
apply the wrong law
literally.
instead of applying customary law or the family's wishes, and you say your mother will be buried in a bush where you can't ever.
Access.
Every time you want to go to the cemetery, you need the caretaker to give you, to open for you keys. If his children are ill, you will never go access to the grave of your mother. So for me, those who agree with me and alternative Digitalk, when will we be next?
The other kind of group.
Yes, the other week. Please send your information. If you agree with me, please take opportunity to support me and alternative Digitalk records that so many people supported the Kanyeihamba, and so other people supported the court to say Stella
This is wrong.
shall be buried in a closed cemetery, and every time their children and other relatives want to visit and commune with her, they need keys. They had to go to the city hall to get the keys to open the cemetery. I oppose with all my authority and belief and knowledge of the law that this was a mistake. The law allows you, as I allowed the family of Katera, to be resumed, rather to be exhumed and be buried in the place of your choice. The choice of Stella's herself and her children who have no connection whatsoever with Mr. Arachi, my friend. So I say, and I so pray that it is done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our viewers, still with Justice Kanyeihamba, we're trying, of course, we couldn't skip that because the deceased now, Justice Stella Amoko was a friend to Justice Kanyeihamba, and we had to also seek his knowledge and wisdom in regards to what seemed to be like conflicts in that regard. Now, while you were away, for lack of another word, from Alternative Digitalk, your friend contracted COVID-19. That's Mr. Museveni, the president. What is rather bothering people, while he was sick in courts also, he delegated his powers to the Prime Minister. This lady was seen everywhere, so excited and couldn't believe she could test the feel of, having the powers of like a temporary president for those 3 days, according to what we watched. The viewers wondered and wanted your wisdom per se. What does the law say? Because literally, in hierarchy, much as the vice president was in the country, the viewers thought and they believed that such powers would be delegated to the Speaker of Parliament. All of a sudden, people saw Right Honorable Nabanja in Iduwero with all the powers, delegated powers from the president, celebrating the Heroes' Day on 9th June. What does the law that you made say?
Under the circumstances, how we have been given by the NRM party and the mafia who sterilized President Museveni. President Museveni was extremely right to delegate the powers to a former Prime Minister.
To the present Prime Minister?
Prime Minister.
Nabanja. He said
you are not listening to me. Let me repeat myself. Under the circumstances under which we are governed, corruption everywhere, abuse of office,
Mabati.
People stealing Mabati. Then I said, President Museveni was perfectly right to delegate his powers to a former Prime Minister, Rugunda. That's what I was saying. I was not talking about Nabanja. Nabanja today is accused of having been part of the cartel that stole Mabati iron sheet. How can you send him to represent you as president in a country where corruption is an offense?
You're sounding sarcastic for sure to your viewers. You're saying under normal circumstances, he would be right to delegate to Hakana Rugunda, but to this Mabati...
No! Yes, that's what I'm saying. But under the present circumstances, no, I said under some circumstances, which we live at, you have left that one, with corruption, the president was perfectly right to nominate the former Prime Minister of Hakana, not Nabanja. Nabanja. He was right to nominate Ndugu Hakana Rugunda to represent him. Because I'm telling you, currently we are grabbed with the drama of corruption, involving about 12 ministers, involving the Speaker of Parliament, involving the Prime Minister of Uganda. So how could he have, in his senses, sent one of those
which he did
to represent him?
in the way
That would have been a crime to appoint any of those.
That's what he
But it is now right to appoint Wakana Rugunda to represent him as the president of Uganda. Museveni and I were desperate to clean this country of corruption. He recently said without mentioning me, that he joins Kanyeihamba. He's going to root out corruption. That's what I'm saying. You can't send a corrupt minister or a corrupt VIP to represent you abroad. Even Idi Amin, who was a brutal dictator, whenever he wanted somebody to represent him, he sent people like Moses Ali, who was his innocent, incorruptible minister. He sent people like Mr. Justice Arachi, whom I knew, and his son is a golfer, Sam. Arachi was incorruptible. He used to send the people. There's another minister who was Minister of Education. Is it Mayanja or whatever? Because when you want somebody to represent you abroad, you send a clean person. The other day I was counting with a judge whom I respect. And I said, as far as I'm concerned, in the Uganda judiciary, I don't know outside, there are only 5 judges who are regarded as incorruptible and who are administering justice. That was the judge and he was talking to. So he said, hey,
So was not one of them.
those are more. No, those are more than I know. I say, how many do? I only know CD in Kampala. The other day, they appointed about over 40 judges, magistrates, chief magistrates. The judiciary, I will not tell you what told me. He said more than 3/4 of those are corruptible, unqualified, incompetent. But the Chief Justice, who has accused, the court said Museveni won the right of appeal, to apply for the right of appeal, were corruptly promoted immediately after they negotiated, not judged, but negotiated to become judges of the Supreme Court. We are pleading. But I think if we, to go by what has happened in the past, they are waiting until I die. Then they say the appeal has been taken by events. Knowing that you, Norman, our cameraman, you will still be liable to be refused bail. But now that they have judged, they are delaying a judgment where I'm suing my brother, Amama Babazi, and the business tycoon, Nzei. That one, the Constitutional Court had it before the one on bail. But because Museveni had been involved in it, the judges used it as a bargain and a bid for promotion. They were promoted in 2021. The judgment, David, where did David go? This man. I want to show you, the camera will show it, what happened. David gave me that judgment of the Supreme Court where it is written in 7 years, but I want later it changed. You are the only one I have here helping me.
Thank you.
So, the Chief Justice has said that that judgment is blasphemic, and it is also illegal, because when it was being delivered, no judge, not even Ngonda 10, they all hid from me, because they had planned it to deliver it on a date I was absent. I have informers in every court. So the informer said, Professor Kanyeihamba, you better come today. They are delivering the judgment. They never gave me any notice. Then I turned up. A corrupt registrar, the daughter of Bushenandi, of Kigezi, told the judges, Kanyeihamba is coming. It's as if you are saying, somebody big is coming. So none of them, you investigate at the court, turned up when they were supposed to give me to deliver judgment.
No.
So the girl, very angry, when I went to she was going to read the judgment in her chamber. He said, here is your judgment. You have lost. You have lost. Next case, please. Oh, Katonda one.
Now,
What kind of Uganda is it? So finally, they have recommended Chisaki, just Chisaki, who hates the Chief Justice, for reasons I'm not going to say today. Instead of saying the Chief Justice should retire in the public interest because he has failed to control his own code, there are others who disobeyed him. And maybe Chisaki, for her courage but misconceived courage at that, should also be retired in the public interest. I have said so.
yeah.
I have written to the Judicial Service Commission, you ask the chairman. Instead, they have refused to do so. My judgment in the right to apply for appeal should have been delivered before. The one, rather, my judgment against Mbabasi and Nzei, rather, and Nzei, should have been delivered before that of the right to apply for bail, which Museveni, having withdrawn, and I thanked her, is supposed to win. How can a party who has withdrawn from the suit and the opposition has thanked him and declared him a president who loves his country, how can you say he won the petition? That is one of the reasons Justice Alfonso Doro Owine called that judgment blasphemous and unenforceable, and we agree with him.
Okay. A quick one before we head into a break.
Yes.
Your friend again, your friend, the Minister for Finance, who, in your view and so many people's views, is still a Mabati suspect, and so many others. He presided over the budget, a national budget for 2023-2024, and so many people were wondering, how could we even have such, in quotes, a suspect come also now preside over a national budget? What is your take? And then we shall head into a break.
It is scandalous. Matthew Chike is a very close friend of mine. I advise him to resign when he said, I found the Mabati in my residence, I don't know who sent them. I had a land which was zoned agricultural. I had goats there, pigs, chicken, a lot of them. And a man called Bazila has stolen it. He's in the court. Although we haven't gone to court, we are still negotiating with the police. Now, I used to find their other neighbors, their goats there. Mine were black and white. The other who came were usually brown or purely black. Every time I looked for my neighbor, I said, excuse me, your goat strayed into mine and is there. One of them was a he goat, and he was romancing with my goat. At one time he produced children. I returned it to the owner when I found it there. I told my shepherd, every time you see the goats of other people, return them. If you need to, it's not mine. So you talked about the Minister of Finance, Matia Kasaija. He's a friend of mine, but I condemned him for his statement. I condemn him now for not having voluntarily resigned. There are 4 people who are an example. When they name you, you are at fault. You examine your conscience, not the view of the president, not the view of the constitution, not the view of a legal advisor, but your conscience from God. The Bantu, we have what we call Ubuntu. Ubuntu means the inner conscience of a human being. I can say, normally you are right. But in law, then I say privately, but I shouldn't have done that one. The Ubuntu, which is the superior moral power that governs all of us, is the one who counts. All our religious leaders, except that the Bishop of Mbarara and the Mufti of much in the division here, are the ones who have publicly denounced the judgment on the right to bail, judgment saying President Museveni is above the law and above and above the God. So finally, what I want to tell you, all those judges and officials who were faulted, most of them confessed or gave the reason, which is not correct, should have in the first place resigned. And even now, President Museveni of Uganda, who has been declared by the Constitutional Court to be above law and Almighty God, therefore is now in charge of all the world affairs and the universe, should be questioned. And for me, I want people who are brave enough, when they're answering the other question, to say, we agree with Kanyeihamba that Museveni is very tired and exhausted. He has been making important decisions since the 1960s, we agree with Kanyeihamba that it is time to lay down his tools and retire, as he told us recently, that if my people ask me to retire, that's one place only. If my people, and we are his people, no man is his people, the cameraman is his people, my daughter is their people. If we ask him, please, Mr. President, thank you for what you have done for us, but we now ask you to retire in 2026. He said, if we do that, we don't need a court order. We need no political parties. Because all the political parties, apart from the that Chiza Besigye used to lead, support Museveni to stay. They thought, when I asked him, do you think he should stay in power? Bishop asked, Mr. Bishop, I went to their places, Sengogerere, Kazinda, the Grand Mufti, I forget what the name is called. I all met them. I consulted the synod. I consulted the provincial council. We have not set up the Muslim Supreme Council. In fact, there's a dispute. Those are the answers they gave me. They never mentioned the three of them. They never mentioned anything about the judgment, that the Museveni is above the law and the government. I saw them.
Our viewers, we are with Justice Kanyeihamba. We are breaking precisely for a few seconds and come back. He will be in position to tell us about his case with Amazon, and by God's grace, we shall call it a day. So we are coming back shortly in just a few seconds.
I hope somebody in the American embassy in Uganda, in Kansanga, or their residence in Kororo, will, by the grace of God, listen to what we are going to say next.
Okay, we are
Thank you.
Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digitalk brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk,
as he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
Are you craving for that special meal that will entice your taste buds and leave you with lasting thrilling memories? Look no further. Spice Island Bulenga has got your answer. Natural, fresh and delicious juice, the best meals. Don't miss our daily specials from Monday to Sunday. Pizza Wednesday, Saturday Pizza Bonanza, you buy one and take two. Come dine with us and feel the experience. We are located at Prime Shopping Center in Bulenga, Mitiana Road. For inquiries, call us on 0704111720. Spice Island, we treat your cravings.
Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
To sue the Amazon, of course, for selling his 8 titles without his notice or permission. I understand a week or so ago you had Professor PLO Lumumba here.
Yes.
And maybe share with us precisely what is it that you discussed? How are you moving forward? Why are you suing them? What do you expect of them?
Thank you very much, Noah. You know, Africans sometimes, this one would be the greatest headline in every newspaper in Africa. Because for the first time, Africa is in the right and the USA has committed a crime. Normally, what do you expect from Africa? Or he's an African. What do you expect? Their intelligence, South Africa says, why South Africa is less than that of the monkeys. We shall govern Africa forever. Unfortunately, in one sense, of continuing to rule the affairs of Africa, they are right. Africans, we don't praise one another. If I was in another country in Europe, I'm not being bragging, my portrait would be in Parliament as a maker of the modern Uganda Constitution. At one time, I used to give lectures to Parliament every so often. One time I was a guest speaker in Parliament when the former Speaker of Kenya was guest of honor, but Parliament had me. Today, the Parliament we had is gone. So people are nominated by Museveni. When in our time, they were nominated by different bodies. For a soldier to be promoted, it would be on the recommendation of the military commission. For a judge to be promoted, it will be on the recommendation of the Judicial Service Commission. We have a Commission of Education, Commission of Agriculture, of Medicine. The president is bound by the Constitution to appoint in accordance
the recommendations
of these bodies of nation. But now, he nominates himself, candidates, appoints, and then informs the Speaker, approve these people I have already appointed.
Amazon
now to Amazon. I have never personally asked Amazon to praise my book, but I have always desired. The first one, I asked a man who said he was an expert, Julius.
How did you discover in the first place that Amazon was selling your books?
A friend of my, a son of my father, said, I have bought one of your books. Many people called me. We have bought your books. I said, where? From Amazon. I said, what? So I started, how is Amazon selling my book? Then I found that every book they sell, they put their price, and in this case, they pocketed the money. So I could consider reporting. I put there investigator. They investigated. Amazon did not reply. I asked Mr. Michael, who usually prints my materials, he hired a professional investigator. He spent 2 years. Amazon was avoiding him. We don't know that man. We don't have any of his books. Then I hired a professional investigator in England. I have spent millions and millions investigating Amazon. So the English one said, if the author is in Africa, we don't recognize you. So advise him to write to us from Africa. So I called Michael. He said, I'm not a professional. He called the professional team of investigators whom I paid to investigate. They did, for myself, they were the negligent. But they corresponded with Amazon directly. He was really negligent. He was not compliant. Said Michael told them to return my money because for 3 years they had failed to discover who had put my books on Amazon. They returned the money. At least they returned to Michael, and he gave it to me. I called my son, Joel. He's a wizard at computers. They told him, we don't have an author of that name on Amazon. These are letters from Amazon. All the correspondence I have. Then, thank the Lord. One of the directors of Kanyeihamba is a man called Kavananuche. He's from Kigezi. I told him the story. He said, let me have a go. I gave him all the addresses. The respondents, Amazon had said, denying we don't have any books. We have never known an author by that name. All that, we have it in writing. Then Kavananuche talked to all the people who have published my books. They called Law Africa. It is based in Kenya. It includes, I forget what the man called, who on the unmitigated humor jokes. He's called Manchi or something like that. He's a Kenyan. So the owner of Africa, of Law Africa, he called me and said, I am no longer publishing. We wound up Law Africa. It no longer exists. I asked who was his agent here, a lady called Caroline. She said, Professor, I don't know anything. But it is true, I'm still in the law business, but I'm not that of Law Africa. All those letters are here. Then, Mr. Kavananuche is a great man. He used his own methods. He's a computer literate. And he fell on the name Manchuria, who used to own a company that published my book, The Unmitigated Human. And then he had told me, I am returning to Kenya. The business of publishing is very difficult in Uganda. I said goodbye. So when Mr. Kanyeihamba Googled on his own system, he came across the name Manchu the Kenyan. I'm pronouncing it all because I can't remember it. But you will see it in the text, yes. He checked. He found the man had become an agent of Amazon in Africa. And the most of the letters we shall present, Amazon was very, very naive, and he's the one who was always answering it. He was, obviously, had represented himself as the author. So the money, the commission which would have come to me from Amazon, he was the one taking it. They trusted him as their agent, so they never checked. So all the negative letters, the answers, we don't know that man, were written by the author, rather by the the agent of Amazon. So we all agreed, Amazon, since this was their agent, is the one which is guilty. That's why we are suing Amazon. Then when I failed in everything, we wanted to ask the American USA Embassy in Uganda. This time, they were not ignoring Machu, the agent of Amazon. But they were saying, Kanyeihamba is an old man, he's senile, presumably he can't understand what he's talking about. We are not going to see him. They were telling their African security man. I wrote to them, they have never answered the letter at all, not once. So, when Kanyeihamba discovered that they are the ones who are the problem, I called my lawyer then, who was the president of the Uganda Law Society, Amoko, Awunde. He failed to get them. Then, even though we had discovered who they were, he failed to get any evidence. Then somebody told me that he may not be interested for a number of reasons which I'm not going to give you. But I have now terminated his services as my lawyer. He owes me nothing because he never asked me to give him any facilitation or any retainer fee or anything at all. He did the work for nothing, but he stopped doing it. I am suing him for another case, but not those ones of now connected with Amazon. Then 2 days ago we gave it. No, then I started, every lawyer I told was interested in the case. I started with Lumumba. By that time we had done what they call Amoko. Some people may have witnessed, we went into the house, the two of us with our witness, and we did it as the ancient Africans do it. So he's now my brother, younger brother, by customary law. And that customary law is very powerful. When you, okushanda gahanda, drink a sample of each other's blood, which we did, you become much closer than the brother than you are by a biological brothers. And that's how we are now.
So he agreed to be the lead counsel?
So we agreed. He agreed to be the lead counsel. He will be joined. They have also agreed by Owechitibwa, John Katende, Nankani advisor to the Kabaka, and by Professor Nsempebwa, whom you know, by Warubidi, the former advisor to UPC, and several others. Lumumba came here. We discussed the case. I think you remember him being here. He had some other business in another part of Uganda. Then he said, I'm going to, what do you call it? Ghana. So, yes, I'm going to Ghana. There is here a man you know, and he will be our key witness about the character and the performance of Kanyeihamba. We are also joined and has agreed to be advised by Professor Nuwagawa of Makerere, a great economist. Yeah, that's right.
For purposes of time, Prof,
Mm.
we have like 7 or so minutes.
Mm.
What are those specifics that you are demanding? What are those demands you are making?
We are, I think you will accept. We are not taking him to court first. We are negotiating with Amazon that they keep my books. All of them they have smuggled, stolen on Amazon. But they should also, we shall have an agreement that the author who gets the authors and the publishers percentage is Kanyeihamba, not. Yes, that's right. That one will be in writing. Then we have set up Kanyeihamba Foundation Academy and the scholarship. Amazon, we shall negotiate how much in terms of dollars. Amazon will be contributing every year to the Kanyeihamba Foundation. His team, where you are, by the way, director, if you didn't know. Obviously, directors now will be paid, we shall negotiate, and where Right Honorable Kadaga is a trustee, Right Honorable Bete Vigombe is also a trustee, where we have asked that, I forget his name, should be the chairman of the board. You and I, as members of the board, we are looking for a chairman. The chairman, former one, we gave him a mission to go to Europe and campaign for Kanyeihamba Foundation. Ever since he returned, I have never seen him, her again. The other director asked some money which the board has not approved, and then one day he argued very vigorously and emotionally that Kanyeihamba, you are wrong to sue President Museveni because Museveni is above the law, which is stupid miserably untrue, as my books will show you. But later we reconciled. She said she will come again, and she has never ceased being a board member, as a director. The other one, what was her name? The deputy who was acting from yeah, Dr. Zebriga. He betrayed us. I don't know whether he's the deputy president of NUPE, but I don't know where he turns. But whatever business he's doing there as deputy, he's doing it now full time. When we call him, she doesn't answer. Our constitution of Kanyeihamba Foundation says, if you don't attend 3 sessions as a board member, you automatically cease to be a member. She has, and therefore she is no longer chairperson of Kanyeihamba Foundation. So has Matembe. She said she will come back, but she didn't. She has also missed 3 sessions, more than 3 sessions. Matembe is no longer a trustee or chairperson of Kanyeihamba Foundation. Meanwhile, we have gathered a team now of 7 very committed, incorruptible, but very effective lawyers. We don't know to negotiate for us. First, and if the, pardon?
First, you want them commit, Amazon should commit, of course, by formal communication to you and the team of the
yes, to give me my right as the author in accordance with their terms. Then to agree, and we shall discuss the amounts. Support Kanyeihamba Foundation.
So literally, you are not approaching them in bad faith.
No.
You want, of course, your books to be retained there, but with
and give me the right which I'm entitled to, that as an author and a publisher. By the way, apart from uninitiated women, the rest I am the publisher and the author. But when over there later they say we have sought the permission of the author and he's giving us that one because we really hang them.
We pray we don't reach there so that they can accept their mistake and perhaps move forward and support, of course, move by your demands.
So we are saying this is Africa with integrity versus USA, the culprit.
Viewers, catch you next time. We can't take enough. May God bless all of us for God and our country. Keep safe wherever you are.
Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.